2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn the beat back.
Hello YouTube, QB999 here. Kingpin of Cinema, he's off masturbating somewhere to Shia LaBeouf.
How y'all doing?
Anyway, we're bringing you another video showing off one of our many decks. This one honestly doesn't work quite as well as I would hope, but I just like it because it is fun as hell to play just because of the strategy. It is a red-blue control deck. The idea behind it is your opponent's strength becomes your strength, with using cards, creatures, and abilities that use your opponent's creatures and abilities against them. So let's start off by looking at some of the creatures I have in here. As you can see, there's not a whole lot. This is a very spell-heavy deck. First off, I have a Quicksilver Elemental, because he can take the activated ability of any monster. Not only that, but he may use blue mana if it's an ability that uses mana. He can use blue mana as if it was any color. Next up, we have a couple clones here, because who doesn't love a good clone? You know, your opponent brings out something pretty good, you know, just play a clone and you got it too.
Unless it's the Spider-Man Clone Saga, those comics sucked.
I put a couple Mind Rack Leeches in here, simply because they buff up my creatures, and also, you know, I can put stuff out that's pretty big for 4 mana. So, Quicksilver can cost 1 mana less. Concrete Masticore, 1 mana less. Crackleburr, 1 mana more. I can do whatever I want. Crackleburr, I put him in here for one reason. I could never get the Eventide blue-red deck to work.
Neither could I.
Neither of us could. I put him in here because I'm going to try and make him work. I just want to be able to use him. Next up, Concrete Masticore. It's a pretty good flyer, 5/5, and when he comes into play, you take control of a creature for a turn. Now, a lot of people, yeah, taking control of a creature for a turn is pretty good. For me, it's even better, and I'll show you why later. Riptide Mangler, because, I mean, he can copy the power of any creature on the field, and it doesn't change back. So if there's a 10/10 on the field, I mean, yeah, you might not have a 10/10, but you can still get a 10/3 for 2 mana. Of course, Dominus of Fealty. Best control creature as far as red-blue goes. Each turn you take control, not just of a creature, of anything your opponent has. Sphinx Ambassador. One of my favorite Sphinxes, because even if you don't really know your opponent's deck well, you can grab just about any creature from their deck, and there's a good chance that they won't guess it. So you'll gain control of it. Over here, I got Rootwater Matriarch. You know, in case your opponent likes to use enchantments a lot, you can just take control of it. Even if it's a bad enchantment, at least you steal their creature away. Got Overtaker. You know, decent creature. I just use him because he takes control of stuff. Same thing with Spawnbroker, except instead of just taking control, you switch. What I like to do is take control of a creature using cards like Concrete Masticore for a turn, and then play him. That lets me exchange control of that creature for another one, but then it becomes permanent. Now into the spells. First off, a new addition is Mirror Sheen for me. I just put in there because there's a lot of spells that affect you as the player. I figure if you're later in the game, you don't have too much more to play, you got some spare mana, you know what? If your opponent does something to you, they deserve it back in kind. And then, of course, Mind Control, one of the main spells of this deck. Just permanently gain control of a creature. That's all there is to it. It costs 5 mana, which isn't too bad. You got Dream Leash, basically the same thing, except it has to be played on a tap creature. Now, Synod Sanctum, one of my favorite artifacts from the old Mirrodin set. This is where spells like Threaten and Act of Treason, and also Conquering Manticore come into play. You gain control of the creature for the turn, you use this card to remove it from the game, and then once you've done that enough, with enough creatures, you sack it, and all those creatures come back into play under your control. Now isn't that awesome? You take a spell that's supposed to only work for a turn, and you make it work for you permanently. It's worked out pretty well. It's a decent strategy for me. Next up is Call to Mind. You know, if you need an instant or a sorcery from your graveyard, mostly one of these, you just get it right back. And it's pretty cheap, and it's a good ability. Avarice Totem, you know, just a way to make your opponents waste their mana trying to get their creatures back.
Yay, Avarice.
Then you got Threaten, you know, take control for a turn. I put in Call of the Skybreaker simply because of the fact that late in the game, getting 5/5 flyers a turn if you're getting mana fucked, not that bad. Oh, by the way, another creature is Supreme Exemplar, which you can use one of these elementals to champion for. It's a fucking 10/10 flyer, why not use it? Next up, I got Leyline of Singularity. The reason why I have this in here is because I have her in here. And also, if you're playing against a deck like an elf deck or a goblin deck, a lot of those decks usually like to use copies of one card. This way, they're restricted to just one of them. And it can sometimes fuck them up. I got Reverberate in here for copying spells. You know, you play Act of Treason, but you want to use another one? You use a Reverberate and copy it. Same thing with Twin Cast, you know, lets you cast 2 of the same spell. Over here we got Unwilling Recruit, another one-turn control card, which can also buff up the creature you're using for the turn. Preferably, though, like I said, I like to use these cards with Synod Sanctum to take control of the creature permanently. That also goes with Dominus of Fealty. So, probably Synod Sanctum is the main card of this deck. That's the one that really gets you the win. And then finally, I got Wild Ricochet. You know, this card I put in here because if it's late in the game and you have the mana for it, you can play one of your spells like Act of Treason, and then use this on your own spell to double the effect. Or if your opponent's playing something on you that is going to hurt, then you can go ahead and play this on that spell. It'll bounce back to them, and you get to play a copy of it too, which will doubly hurt them. Anyway, so that's my control deck. Remember, control is all about turning your enemy's strengths into your strengths. So hopefully this deck will help you out, gave you an idea of what you could possibly do. If there's any alterations you could suggest, let me know. I'll be happy to do them, because I'm always looking to make my decks better. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and as always, if you don't like it, well, you know what, tell me what you don't like about it, and I'll try and fix it.